Are the Eagles about to make a major, major trade? And how important, really important, is Cooper Dejean to the Eagles? Welcome to the Eagles Checkdown, the fastest under 10-minute Eagles podcast there is, covering news, notes, and opinions on your favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles, right here on the Eagles Pinpool Podcast Network. I'm your host, Phil Stife. You can also find me hosting Trending in the AM daily, 8 a.m., 90 minutes of sports talk live. I got the link below. Make sure you check it out. I'd greatly appreciate it, trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark by the end of the year. So please check that channel out and subscribe. All right, so on Thursday, there were starting to be some rumors. It started out of Cleveland. It started with an ESPN affiliate station, I believe it was, 97.3 Cleveland. It's just kind of how 97.5 The Fanatic used to be associated with ESPN. It's now not. So something similar to that. And they were talking about how Howie Roseman, Eagles general manager, has reached out to the Cleveland Browns and offered 3 first-round picks for stud and frustrated defensive end Myles Garrett. And it leads me to a couple points here. First and foremost, is this even a realistic rumor or not? I don't know. Has Howie called Cleveland and asked about him? Probably. Would Howie and should Howie offer 3 first-round picks for a player like Myles Garrett? It's debatable. So this is what I want to say about it. First and foremost, like I said, Howie Roseman's calling on everybody. Howie Roseman's the most thorough GM in football. If there's even a 1% chance that Myles Garrett gets traded, he's calling on him. He was in on the Micah Parsons trade. Jerry Jones flat out said we weren't trading him to the Cowboys or from the Cowboys to the Eagles because of the division thing. Now, if you're willing to put up a couple first-round picks for Michael Parsons, why wouldn't you for Myles Garrett as well? Now, 3 first-round picks. Our last 4 first-round picks, I say that because we've had 4 in the last 3 years, have been Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell, and Jihaad Campbell. So you're looking at giving up 3 players because Howie's a great early-round drafter, at least has been for the last 4 or 5 years. Giving up 3 players of that quality for Myles Garrett might be slightly overkill. Now, if you go back to the Khalil Mack trade a few years back when he got traded for 2 firsts and a third. So would I consider Myles Garrett? Absolutely, I consider. I mean, he's the best of the best of the best with honors at what he does. If a trade is something along the lines of this upcoming year's first-round pick, one of the third-round picks that we have this year, plus the following years, so 26 and 27 first-rounders and one of the 26 thirds, sure. If you want to throw in Nolan Smith or Jalen Hunt, maybe. Or maybe you take off the third and you throw in one of those players. But I find it hard to imagine that Howie would use his next 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett. Maybe there's another player that you could throw in there, another young player that maybe they would want. I don't know. If Myles Garrett gets traded, and I would put that at like a 3 to 5% chance because Cleveland has been adamant about not wanting to trade him. Maybe that's a little smoking guns to kind of try to drive up the price. I would find it extremely, extremely difficult to see them moving him. But if they did, I think 2 firsts and whatever other pot sweeteners you need to throw in there, that is my cutoff for a player like that because you still need your Lane Johnson replacement. You need tight end help. You need, so many positions filled. And yes, Myles Garrett is probably the best player at what he does, but I find it very hard to imagine, offering more than 2 first-round picks plus whatever else for him. Cooper Dejean was a subject on Trending in the AM on Thursday a lot before a power outage ended that show early, and about how important he is. And I got a couple poll questions running on my Twitter account, @BeardandKnowledge. 2 of them centered around Cooper Dejean because I brought up the topic with the Michael Carter trade and potentially moving Cooper Dejean to the outside. I got thinking about how important is Cooper Dejean to the Eagles. Is he one of the 5 most important Eagles on this team? And I think the answer is absolutely yes. And right now, so there's a poll question. All these polls are in the early stages, just over 50 votes each right now. And I put this out there. Is he top 5 most important? Yes, 67%. No, but close, like 6 or 7 is at 30%. And no is 2.2%. So there are a decent amount of people that believe me and agree with me on this. I find it hard to imagine, outside of Jalen Hurts and Lane Johnson, maybe you throw in Jordan Mailata, maybe equally as important as Quinyon Mitchell, maybe slightly more because he is more versatile. And it leads me to the other name that everyone says that Jalen Carter is more important than Cooper Dejean. So I put that out there as another poll question. A few more votes on this one, and it's almost dead even. If you could only, this is not counting money and contracts, none of that. If you could only have one player for the next 5 years, Cooper Dejean or Jalen Carter, who are you keeping? Right now, that poll is 49.2% of the people chose Cooper Dejean, only 50.8. So this is literally a one vote difference, basically, of who the people would keep. So that tells you how important Cooper Dejean is to this Eagles defense's team. He plays the run. He blitzes. He's obviously the best elite slot corner in football, can play outside, has been said to be able to play safety. He stops the run. He tackles. He does so many different things. And Jalen Carter's one of the best defensive tackles, but he's not the leader that Cooper Dejean is. He came in out of shape this year. He got hurt this year, which is another subject. We won the game one, Dallas Cowboys, because of his immaturity that he's still showing. Cooper Dejean is wise beyond his years in the maturity level as well. So I think it's an interesting topic. And come on, trending in the AM comment section in the morning and let me know your thoughts on that. I got one other poll question going right now, and I thought it was interesting here. It was something I was asked to put out there on the Twitterverse as well. Of the 4 players I'm about to name that we lost this past offseason, who in hindsight is the biggest loss taking money out of the equation? Isaiah Rodgers, Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, or Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who recently signed with the Bears? Isaiah Rodgers and Josh Sweat are actually dead even at 38.9%. Milton Williams, 18.5%. CJ, GJ, 3.7%. And I love the fact that people realize that while Isaiah Rodgers is missed, Keely Ringo has been bad, that losing Josh Sweat was just as big of a deal, because that's why we're in the position we are, talking about Myles Garrett and talking about all these other edge rushers that could potentially get traded. So I thought that was an interesting one, a lot of fun there. We got lots coming up on Friday's morning show, so make sure you check it out. We'll be back next week as we get back to the grind, get back to the Eagles, and get back to football. As we round it out on Friday, we will also on Training the AM be handing out grades for the Eagles in the first half. So stay tuned to that as well. Everybody have a great Friday. Happy Halloween. Go Birds, and bubbles up.